Hello everyone and welcome to your severe weather update for March 19th, 2020. Today is the day where the severe weather is supposed to be rolling in. We're going to go over all the threats that are going on today and what you can expect in your area. So let's get started with the severe weather alerts in the St. Louis area. We have a flash flood watch that's going to be lasting through most of the day. We have numerous flood warnings, most of them outside of the St. Louis area at this point, but river flood warnings basically spanning through all the rivers in the entirety of the St. Louis area. And finally, we do have a flash flood warning that is just out of view, that is not within the St. Louis area. Storm Prediction Center does have a mesoscale discussion that might expire by the time you see this video, but they do say that a risk for damaging winds and tornadoes seems to be limited in the near term, but could become more widespread by 2 to 3 p.m. So, in the near future, we could see a severe thunderstorm watch, 40% chance of watch issuance as of now, according to the Storm Prediction Center. So here's the National Weather Service and Storm Prediction Center's perspective today. All severe hazards are possible and will develop in the late afternoon and evening. The strongest storms will produce damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. They are all pretty much equal in threat today. Severe weather is most likely between 3 p.m. and midnight, and you should stay updated and make sure that you have an efficient way to get weather alerts and you know what to do in the event of severe weather. So let's get into severe threats. When it comes to strong winds, we're moderate, bleeding into high a little bit, but still in the moderate threat. Large hail in the moderate, and tornadoes have been downgraded from a high to a moderate threat, around exactly the same as the wind threat, although some strong tornadoes are still possible today. When it comes to flooding, we're at a moderate threat that might get upgraded to high. I might upgrade that to high. If I do, I will post that on social media. And finally, for the overall threat, we do have that moderate threat that does bleed into the high threat a little bit due to the wind and tornado threats. So let's talk about the severe weather outlook today. So here we are with day one wind. We are expecting a moderate risk, particularly on the southern side of things, southeastern side of things. Again, this is my own scale. You can see it there, 20% chance within 50 miles of getting wind gusts above 60 miles per hour. So some particularly intense storms could form, although it is unlikely that they will have wind gusts above 70 miles an hour at this time. So let's talk about hail. When it comes to hail, we do have a pretty good chance for 1-inch hail falling. That is what these probabilities are based on, within 50 miles. So maximum probability being 20% chance of large hail falling within 50 miles. Big thing also is, you can see where this dotted line is, that is where we could get particularly intense storms with very large hail that is above 2 inches in diameter. So that could be very large hail that falls, definitely something that does need to be kept an eye on, but that's actually right on the border between the moderate and the low risk on the northern side. That looks to be where the most intense of these storms will be occurring. You can also see up in Iowa, outside of the St. Louis area, but still a small, particularly intense area. And finally, you can see when it comes to tornadoes, we do have a moderate threat for that, 10% chance within 50 miles of getting a tornado. You can see places like Kansas City in an area for particularly intense tornadoes being a possibility. And also it looks like south of St. Louis you could also get some intense tornadoes. Those are EF2 or above tornadoes, so those could be large violent tornadoes. Definitely something that needs to be kept an eye on. The threat was downgraded from high to moderate, so your overall threat is relatively low to get a tornado, but if you do get a tornado, just be aware that it could be a very intense one. Alright, you can follow us on Facebook at MicroCasting St. Louis. You can also follow us on Twitter at MicroCasting STL, and you can follow us on Instagram by searching MicroCasting St. Louis. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, you know where that button is, and if you disliked it, you also know where that button is. Subscribe and hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. And that's it for today. Coronavirus update will be coming out later today. Thank you so much for watching. This is MicroCasting St. Louis, signing out.